Hello and welcome to The Relevance of Now with William Linville. My name is Michael Connell. Hey, William.
Hey, Michael, how you doing, buddy?
Doing wonderful, thank you. Excited to really go through this topic of what is a thought and how does it affect your outside world? And how does it, William?
There's many levels to a thought. There's some that in your body feel inspiring, happy, joyful, creative, expressive. Then there's thoughts that are like a lower level frequencies that has your body feel heavy, kind of like a rock in the middle of the ocean. And where the thoughts come from, it's a mass collective deity of all the dear ones that wake up in the morning, open up their peepers, they're looking all around, and through the astral planes of consciousness, the mass collective consciousness, they take this energy that's created as a thought from multitudes of dear ones, like woe is me, what if, could have, should have, as well as breaking it down to what you're feeling. Like if you're feeling weighted down with this undercurrent of a certain energy of heaviness and a certain energy of feeling or perceiving more than feeling that you're on an endless hamster wheel. You get up, you hop in the shower, you shave, then you go wash, rinse, repeat each and every day. Well, that right there, it's like an undercurrent of a mass collective assumption that you're basically under the power and that you're being controlled and identifying with what everyone else is doing in a body on a planet. And that right there is like a heavy undercurrent of a conglomerate of energy and emotion and assumption to fit in, to be loved, to be worthy, to feel good enough. You buy into this cyclical cycle as a wheel of repetition. And you take all this energy, and then the energy is put into a conglomerate called a thought form. So you take all these other energies from everyone else outside of you and around you. You buy into it hook, line, and sinker, almost like an assumption. This is what we do. This is what we got to do. This is what we have to do day after day after day. Repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, and on and on and on. You'll notice, like, dear ones have a deep sigh of, okay, this is who I am, this is what I do, and so forth and so forth, without really contemplation for themselves. And that's what we'll call the mass collective assumatory thought forms. It's not, at this point, it's not about what you want, what you desire. It's not about your dreams. It's more about hopping on this treadmill or a hamster wheel of repeat, repeat, repeat. And that right there is like an undercurrent magnetic, because it is a magnetic. It's like you being sucked into all these conglomerates of thought forms, which are, in this case, a lot of assumptions of this is how to survive. So at that point, you're buying into it, hook, line, and sinker, going through the motions, hook, line, and sinker. But see, you're never feeling. You're basically mimicking what everyone does when they do it, how they do it, with the assumption this is how you survive. And then, let's just say the light bulbs start to come on. And this is now you. You step back. You start to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing when I do it? And then, of course, what does it feel like? And then, of course, the light bulbs become brighter and brighter, saying, well, Michael or Will, what are you doing and why? Not that we're looking for like some reason. It's more of a wake up to coming to terms with, I'm done being controlled. I'm done being a sheeple. And then we go to the two kingdoms. Because in this case, there are two kingdoms. One that want to do what they do when they do it and want to be wide awake, fully alert, which creates life force, creates energy. And then the other kingdom of dear ones wanting to be told what to do, when to do, how to do it, and how they're supposed to be, should be, must be, like working on a factory belt. You mimic, it takes no contemplation, and where you just go through the motions, go through the motions. Now, in wanting to be told what to do, so oneself as an individualized creator incarnate no longer need take in responsibility for their live stream. So now we get into the ego levels that have someone to blame, something to blame, somewhere to blame for the outcome of their life. That's part of the mass collective streams of thought of watch, rinse, repeat, have not a contemplation of your own. And then once again, the light bulbs go on brighter and brighter to where you stop right there. And you wake up to what I would call the now, the relevance of the now. You wake up to now receiving a higher, let's just say, taking a shower of light, getting rid of all the tar, all the magnetics, all the pressure to do what you do when you do it, pressurized by all these excess perceptions coming from the mass collective. In this case, I want to call it thought forms, but more important than thought forms, assumptions. This is just what you do when you do it. We go to preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, junior high school, then some college, some not college. And that's all based in assumptions. This is just what you do when you do it, how you do it, when you do it. Male structures make it into sports, female structures make it into sports because you look back through the genealogy all the way through the family monad, and this is just what you do when you do it, when you do it, how you do it. No, not really any clarity or a thought of your own. And then from that moment, you buy whatever you buy with the abundance from the mass collective, do what you do when you got to do it and supposed to do it. And you start putting in a savings because then we get into the perception what if there's a rainy day, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not you, once again. That's still an undercurrent of the mass collective consciousness of mimicking everything we've been told, taught, we've seen all around us. And then it gets put into a box called this is normal. Well, technically, literally, universally, that's totally AB normal to where the light bulbs become brighter and brighter once again. You stop and you question all the way down to the core essence of yourself. What is a male? What is a female? What are the roles? What are the scripts? And then who am I? I'm not a male. I'm not a female. Everyone on this planet, regardless of their gender, they're still androgynous until they're taught to perceive, believe, buy into, with all this built up of energy, into the gender principle that males do this. They create the harvest, they go out on the farm, they create the sustenance, and the females come along and they harvest the harvest. They create meals, I don't know, wash dishes, all the day to day domestic stuff. Once again, we go back to, I can have a bachelor pad, bachelorette pad, but still, why? And the light bulbs become brighter and brighter to stop you right there, coming back to the relevance of the now and the relativity of the now, to where we start to ask ourselves, who am I? What am I? Why am I doing what I'm doing? But now, what I love the most is now it's your thought. So you're stopping there in the relevance of the now, the relativity of the now. You're going into your eternal radiance, your eternal presence. To take a breath, all the veils are lifted up. There's no longer any have to, should do, ought to do, must do. We really get to take a breath right there, out of space and time, out of the mass collective assumptions, all the way to the costumes you wear, all the way to your perception and enjoyment of one costume over another. We lift all those veils to where females look like this, males look like that, and you put on cologne, perfume, which is kind of like, I love the terminology of all of it being called stink pretty, because you're putting off a whole different essence, a whole different element of how you want to be perceived, received. And it's almost like an animal putting on attractability spray to where it's a very low level carnal desire to, it's like putting on a scent. It's kind of like we worked with before, the scent of fear. But this one's more of a scent of going through their subconscious, going through their olfactory nerves to create an uprising in the dear ones around that bring you on the map to say, aha, Michael or William or Betty, Barbara, whatever, whatever, is now attractive because when I'm around them, I have, and this goes through the subconscious, I have this scent that I inhale that has all these equal points of what it means, waking up areas in the brain that is called attractability. Now, all of it's going through all these different filters for you to now become available, not available. Like you imagine, Mr. Michael, if everyone rubbed rose on their body or fecal matter. I mean, if you go back to prehistoric times, the fecal matter is what made you attractive. It's a different sense of all the different animal kingdoms. It says I'm strong or maybe I'm prey. Now, it's interesting when you remove all the judgment from all of it, that brings you back to, once again, who am I? What am I? Rather than all these mass collective societal assumptions that when I breathe in these certain elements, essences, and presences, that it triggers the pleasure center of the brain that says, aha, eureka, I have found my mate. Now, you do the same with fecal matter back to prehistoric times. It equals the same thing. But now, which I find kind of interesting, really, I mean, all the products, all the toilet sprays, which, basically is toilet spray, of being attractive or not attractive. Now, that goes back through the olfactory nerve, which goes back to the undercurrent of the subpsyche that says, when I smell this, when I smell that, it equals X, Y, and Z. And now, through the carnal desires, the solar plexus down, aha, eureka, once again, this is going to be my mate, or this is based through all the subconscious, emotional, calibration, lattice work, and so forth, that equal attraction. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome. Is it accurate to say that the only true thoughts that we have begin with a feeling from our senses?
See, here's the deal. Like right now, let's just bring the beautiful marriage of the heart, your beautiful bride. Let's bring her or her presence in front of you right now. And you're just feeling and tuning into her presence right now. What feeling in your body and your presence are you experiencing?
Well, I'm feeling her her true vibrance as that's what I'm connecting to.
So when you connect with her true vibrance, not based in action, words, or deeds, not based in things that have been said, not based in the past, just what and how, when you're tuning into her, what feelings start to arise?
Just this brilliance, this embracement, this love, those 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 expressions, those feelings.
So in your body right now, how much more vibrant, how much more lively, how much more can you feel right now your heart opening?
Exponentially.
And how does that feel in your body right now?
Amazing.
And technically, how endless does it feel in your body right now?
Infinite, right. It feels infinite.
So right now, I want to point out, because we have your bride right in front of you, your marriage of the heart. Can you feel how the rest of the world, everything going on in the world, just dissolved.
Yes.
Okay, now the idea here, what first comes for yourself right now is the feeling
Yes.
of her presence, her embodiment, the silky skin, so forth and so forth. Now, let's come back, make a switch back from feeling back into, like, let's zoom out of her, phase out of her, back into the whole world as a whole,
Yeah.
the whole planet, and all of brother humanity running around on the platelets of the planet. Now, would you and I just become aware of we're taking in the whole planet, all of brother humanity right now as a broader view, and how's your body responding?
It's heavier, just like slowly heavier and heavier.
Of course, because right now we don't have a pinpoint of focus.
Ah.
Looking at the wholeness of the planet, all the brother humanity running on the platelets of the planet. So now let's zero back in. Let's zero into the Dalai Lama, just like we did with your beautiful bride. And how is your body responding? And how does that feel?
The exuberance comes back, the tingling all throughout the body.
Okay, now let's phase out of that. Let's make it once again about all the brother humanity, the planetary templates, and everything going on around you. Let's just make it where you physically live, which is Jacksonville, Florida. So now let's just zero right into Jacksonville and all the dear ones running around doing this, doing that, and even to the platelets of the planet right now. And what are you feeling in your body? How is your body right now responding?
Lower, it's just duller.
Exactly. So right now, let's take a breath. And right now, let's just focus, let's just zero in into the sky. Let's make it about the atmospheric realms. Yeah, the weather patterns. And how is your body responding?
Um, Still some heaviness.
Absolutely. Now, let's phase out of that. And now, let's just let ourselves be right here, right now, focused on nothing. Not the room, not the building, not animals, nothing. What you mentioned earlier, the stillness of all that is.
It's like my cells, all my cells are, I can feel them and they're like jumping there. Like it feels vibrant.
Because what you're experiencing now is you, your presence through your body, which is what I would call your normal, your natural state. Now we bring forth someone or something in front of you without judgment for a moment. Because right now, when you're focused on nothing, you are one with, you are all that is. Now we're going to zero it back in through the physical, the mental, the emotional, the subconscious.
Right. So when we're talking about thought, what I'm feeling right now with the stillness, there still is a bit of a, I would say, to maintain that stillness, there's a focal point.
Yeah, but that stillness that you were experiencing without a focal point. Let's go back to how much lighter, brighter, clearer, sharper your vibratory levels and frequencies in megahertz were responding.
Yes. And I'm sharing that if I'm going to maintain that, I have to, and not be bombarded and not start taking in the mass collective thought forms outside of me.
In all of their perceptions.
I need to, but there's a step I need to take now in transition to, because I'm used to taking on unconsciously whatever was presenting to me in my thoughts without a focal point. Now, if I have a focal point of my stillness and my awareness, my senses, when I'm, you know, walking the dog or when I'm engaging with someone, that when I'm engaging with someone, in order to not be bombarded with their thoughts or mass collective thoughts, where I'm at right now in consciousness, I need to maintain my awareness of the stillness. It's possible. It can be easy to do. I don't mean it as a job, but I have to be mindful to be there.
Or let's change those words to heartful.
Okay.
Mindful is where the mental, emotional, subconscious, conscious, and the ego is looking for something to zero in on to justify itself as a live deity in a creation. Now, ego is not the bad guy, not the good guy. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's how you're raised, it's what you were taught, it's what incarnationally you perceive, believe to be a reality. So, right now, let's just go back into focusing on nothing. Or even, I would say, focusing on nothing, but let's look up, or you live on the coast. So, let's look over the horizon of the oceanic rim, where there literally is not a focal point. There's not a ship, there's not a boat that the mind and the ego starts to zero in on. Let's just let it be a wide open state right now. Now that's where the acceleration, the vibrancy, the joy, the happiness, the bliss, but also where right now we're in a state where there's no little Michael. There's nothing for the ego to grasp onto. There's nothing for it to judge.
Right.
Now, so right now, we all have 9 to 5s. We all have everything going on around us. But now, getting to the goal of it, let's bring that wide open state of the horizon or maybe the sky with or without clouds, just that presence of eternity, unendedness. There's not a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's no irony. There's only expansiveness. Now, let's bring that expansiveness in because, like you mentioned, not as a job, it's already you. The job is getting rid of the stuff that's not you. So let's just cut to the chase, go right there. And now bringing our consciousness and that consciousness all the way through the crown, the third eye, the frontal lobe of the brain, the midbrain, back of the brain, right left sides of the brain, through the throat, front, middle, and back, the heart, front, middle, and back, solar plexus, front, middle, and back, your crater chakra level vortex, front, middle, and back, through the root, down through your upper legs, your lower legs, into the feet, down your shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, into, within, and through the chakra level vortexes within the hands. And now let's bring this feeling, well, let's say bring yourself, this knowingness as well. And now let's bring forth, it's interesting because everyone seems to have their own personal nemesises in their life, whether it be pet peeves, whether it be another dear one with arms and legs, blah, blah, blah. Let's bring the same presence into when you connect with another. Because now you as your higher levels, and I want to highlight that you, as the facet of creator that you are, as your higher levels animating through the physical level. Let's now zero in on them. But now let's be aware of them. But once again, let's be aware of bringing you, your eternal nature, you, the evolutionary cycle of expansiveness, right into that dialogue that now our eyes, our peepers are focused right on something or someone. Let's bring that same feeling, that same presence in through your body principle, through the mind level, right through the eyes, like laser beams into the other. So now It's not about like or dislike. It's not about positive or negative. It's not about approval, disapproval. That's all based not on them, it's based on their behaviors. So now let's really bring this presence right through the eyes, zeroing in the heart, zeroing in on whatever's around you. If I have a 9 to 5, great. Let's break energy with the 9 to 5. Let's look up and look around us through the peepers, the eyes, through your heart. Let's look at the other dear ones doing whatever they're doing, being wherever they're at on their own journey all around you. If you work from home, great. Let's use a computer screen as a window to connect with all these other dear ones, zeroing into them, but bringing still this functionability, this presence, this beauty, this clarity right through your eyes, right through your heart, to whomever, wherever the computer screen is located and connecting with. This isn't about, I am all that is, I'm wide awake, fully alert, bring it on, and then putting on your armor when you're about to address brother humanity.
One client recently asked you, what is it? What is a true thought? How do I know I'm having a true thought, like pure, my divine thought? How do I know?
A true thought would be a thought of love, a thought that brings you empowerment, not from I'm more than you are. That's not a true thought. Does it in your body? Does it affect how you feel? Does it give you a boost of joy? Does it, is it comforting? Is it embracing? Is it loving? Well, because to simplify it, Michael, there's two thoughts: love or fear. The fear thoughts are, what about me? Me, blah, blah, blah. A true thought would be, how much love, how much joy, how much even life force, energy, and light does this thought bring me within my body? Does it feel expansive? My wings are opening, or does it feel like the chains and locks are being wrapped all around me?
That is super helpful, William. Thank you so much for this clarity of us living in a body on a planet with our minds and our egos and what we've learned, and transitioning away towards being, feeling, embodying our true presence so we can experience our true feelings, which are naturally there.
And one last thing, Michael, like you said something that I find kind of peculiar, like your mind, your body, and your ego. So, what if for a minute, let's just take a breath, nice, slow, deep breath through the nose into basically your pelvic girdle. And let's reassess that for a minute. Your body, your mind. But now let's go back to
Okay.
the ego, not your ego, the ego. It is outside of you. It's really not even a part of you. It's like a manual that's getting check mark if we do something by the book, by the letter, or we do something from you. By the book, from the letter is what the ego is thinking, Michael, you got to be this, you got to look like that, you got to act like this, blah, blah, blah. That's all the ego nonsense. So the ego, let's put it over there. As we go further into the unraveling of you arising through the body and the unraveling of the ego out there, to where we're not assuming it's a part of yourself. Because in reality, all the ego stuff has come from all of your experiences in a body on a planet, what you've been told, what you've been taught, kind of like the familial boot camp. But it's not you. It's just what you've been taught, what you've been told. Good boy, not good boy. And it's like, that's kind of bizarre, because out of all reality, universal and everywhere else, that's about others' perceptions, projections, and judgments upon what you do, when you do, how you do, for in their perceptional belief system or judgments that are going to say, Michael is loved, loving, and lovable, or there's something wrong with Michael due to their individual manuals through the scripts of judgment. And that's only one dare one. And then we take in the rest of the world and their assumptions, perceptions, and judgments that Michael's loved, loving, and lovable, which is still not you. That's still their baggage, has nothing to do with you. That's all about, is Michael going to behave in a way that my perceptional judgment and comfort zone can say, Michael's okay. It's still not about you. You're okay, even beyond okay.
Well, thank you all for joining us. This has been The Relevance of Now with William Linville.
And for everyone here, please feel free to send in any request of any subject or topic that you would like to go further into.
You can do that by sending an email to contact@williamlinville.com. And until next time, namaste.